Hello everyone, I hope you're okay. And guys, I really hope that the videos I keep uploading are really helping you out. Uh if you are new to the channel, guys, just know that you're more than welcome to subscribe. If you're a regular, thank you for trusting us and coming back. Okay. Today we're about to do the 2022 DBE Mathematics November question 5 from the paper 2 exam. This video will just focus on just question 5 because we are still in the learning process of understanding trigonometry. Are you together? Okay. We are given that the square root of 13 times sine x plus 3 is equal to 0, where theta is between 90 and 270. Without using a calculator, determine the values of the following. Okay, since they don't want us to use the calculator, that means we must always resort to a right angle triangle, right? But that right angle triangle shouldn't be just anywhere. We are given the square root of 13 sine x plus 3 is equal to 0. This thing simply means that sine x is equal to negative 3 divided by the square root of 13 altogether. So basically sine x is equal to a negative number. So I will go and tick on my Cartesian plane in which quadrant is sine negative. I know that sine is negative in quadrant number 3 and quadrant number 4. Are you together? But I'm also given a restriction there in where I can find my angle of x. My angle of x can be found either in the second quadrant or the third quadrant. Where I have the most number of ticks, that's where my right angle triangle is. So I will draw my triangle like that, and then I'll have x there. Are you together? Since I know that sine is opposite over hypotenuse, simply means that the y is negative 3, then the hypotenuse is the square root of 13. How can I find the adjacent side? I can simply use the Pythagoras theorem. Whereby r squared is equal to x squared plus y squared. R is the square root of 13. We don't know the value of x, but y is negative 9. Not negative 9, rather, it's negative 3 all squared, right? So this will give us 13 minus 9, which will be x squared, and then x squared is equal to 4, then x is plus or minus 2. All right, together. Since the triangle is on the left hand side of the y-axis, it simply means that the x value is also negative. Are you together? So now I know the values of x, y, and r. I can answer everything that I want. I know that my x value is negative 2, y is negative 3, r is the square root of 13. I can answer every question that I want to answer. And I will also erase this thing because I want to create room for me to write. But whenever you answer, guys, in your exam room, do not erase the sketch there. Okay. They want us to find the value of sine 360 plus x. 360 plus the first thing I need to do is to reduce this angle. No? 360 plus x is an angle in the first quadrant. Everything is positive, so I'll simply say sine x. But I know that sine is equal to y over r, so sine will be equal to negative 3 all over the square root of 13. And then now I want to find the value of tan x. Tan x is y over x, or opposite over adjacent, right? So it will be negative 3 divide by -2, which will give me a positive 3/2. And then the first thing I need to do there is to reduce the angle. 180 plus is an angle in the third quadrant, and cos is negative there. So I'll simply have negative cos x, right? Negative. I do know the numerical value of cos x. I can simply substitute x over r. Then I'll get 2 over the square root of 13. And then you get your full 7 marks, guys. Are we together? Okay. Now they want us to determine the value of the following expression without using a calculator. Basically, they want us to simplify. Let me just do it here. At the top, I have cos 90 plus x. Please, guys, whenever you simplify, the first thing you need to do is to just build your structure to avoid making mistakes. Plus 3. Okay, whenever I see 90 plus or 90 minus, that means I must use my cofunctions. Are you together? But before I do so, I must check whether this trig ratio I'm trying to change, is it positive or negative. 90 plus is in the second quadrant and cos is negative. So that means I'll change to a negative sine theta. Are you together? And then for negative angles, guys, I must always add a 360 for them to be positive, because I work easily with positive angles, right? So whenever I add a 360, I'll have the sine of a positive 180 plus theta. Are you together? And sine of positive 180 plus theta, 180 plus theta is an angle in the third quadrant, and sine is negative there. So I'll simply have a negative sine theta. Are you together? And when I have an angle like this, minus theta or minus x, minus alpha, minus beta, just know that those angles are in the fourth quadrant. And in the fourth quadrant, only cos is positive, right? So sine will be negative. So I'll simply have a negative sine theta. So that means I'll have negative sine theta all over minus sine theta minus 3 sine theta, which will give me over negative 4. And then the signs will cancel. I'll be left with positive 1 over 4. So this thing simply means that whenever I simplify this thing, I'll get 1 over 4. Are you together, Wahlali? Okay, and then now they want us to find the general solulu. Let's find the general solution of this given equation. Already I have two things multiplied and the answer is 0. So right away I'll simply say this thing simply means that cos x plus 2 sin x is equal to 0, or 3 sin 2x minus 1 is equal to 0. And then I must just solve. For this one, I'll simply have 2 sin x is equal to the negative cos x. I can divide both sides by cos. I'll have 2 tan x on the other side. Why? Because sine over cos rather is equal to tan x, right? Then I can divide both sides by 2. Then tan x is negative half. All I have to do now is to find my reference angle. Are you together? My reference angle will be tan inverse of a positive half. So how do I do that? I'll press shift tan, then 1 over 2. I'll simply get 26.57 degrees. My duty is to express the reference angle where tan is negative. Why negative? Because tan x was equal to a negative number, right? But remember that I can only express my reference angle for tan, it's either in the first quadrant or second quadrant. If tan x is equal to a positive number, I will express my reference angle in the first quadrant. If tan x is equal to a negative number, I will express my angle in the second quadrant. So I'll simply say, therefore, x is equal to, in the second quadrant, we express angles as 180 minus. So I'll simply say 180 minus 26.57. I'll get 153. So my answer will be 153 153.43 degrees plus k 180, where k is an integer. Okay, now let's go and find the other solulu. For this one, I can simply say sine 2x is equal to 1 over 3. Then after isolating sine 2x, I must find my reference angle. Therefore, my ref angle is equal to sine inverse 1 over 3. What do I get? Shift sine 1 over 3. It's 19.47 degrees. Then my duty is to express the 19.47 where sine is positive. And I know that sine is only positive in the first and second quadrant. So this thing simply means I will have two x in the first quadrant. We just write angles as they are, plus k 360. So whenever I divide both sides by 2, I'll have x is equal to 9.78 degrees plus k 180, where k is an integer. And therefore, in the second quadrant, how can I express my angle? I'll have 2x is equal to, in the second quadrant, angles are expressed as 180 minus, so I'll say 180 minus the reference angle, which is 19.47, right? So I'll have 2x is equal to 160.53 degrees plus k 360. Then I can divide both sides by 2. I'll have 2x, I'll have x is equal to, x is equal to 80.27 plus k 180, where k is an integer. Right, together. So the solutions, these are my solutions. This is the first one, second one, and third one. Then you get your full 6 marks. Right, together. Let me write all of them here. Set x is equal to 9.78 degrees plus k, where k is an element of integers. X is equal to 80.27 27. And then the third one, x is equal to 153.43 plus k 180, where k is an integer. Okay, that's how you find the general solution, guys. Let's move forward. Let's prove the following identity. Let's prove the following identity. We are given the left hand side here. Our duty is to show that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side, right? So all I need to do is to just simplify the left hand side. I have a compound angle for cos, which is cos x multiplied by cos y. Since there's a plus there in between, I'll simply write a minus sine x sine y, right? And then for the second part, I have cos x cos y. Since I have a minus there, I'll write a plus sine x sine y. We can all see that this thing is a factorized version of the difference of two squares, right? So which simply means that we had a situation like cos x cos y all squared minus sine x minus sine x sine y all squared are together, and this thing will give us this will give us cos squared x cos squared y minus sine squared x and sine squared y, right? We can see that our right hand side has only one trig ratio, which is sine. So that means we must just change these two guys to be expressed as sine. Okay, so the first one, I'll have 1 minus sine squared x I'll have 1 minus sine squared x, and then the second one is 1 minus sine squared y, right? So now I just have to remove the brackets. I have sine 1 multiplied by 1 will give me 1 multiplied by a negative sine squared y, I'll get negative sine squared y. A negative sine squared x multiplied by 1, I'll have a negative sine squared x, and then negative sine squared multiplied by negative sine y sine squared y, I'll get a positive sine squared x sine squared y, right? But please remember that I still have negative sine squared x sine squared y. Does it make sense? So these two just separate one another, not separate each other but subtract, and then I'll be left with 1 minus sine squared x minus sine squared y. So now I've shown that the left hand side is equal to the right hand side. Now I've shown that. Okay. Okay, now whenever they say to me hence determine the value of that without the use of a calculator. Whenever I see the word hence in maths, that means I must use what I've just proven previously. So when I look at this thing, I can simply say let 45 degrees to be equal to x and 15 degrees to be equal to y, right? So I will therefore have 1 minus sine squared x and minus sine squared y. Are we together? I know that 1 minus sine squared x is equal to what? This is equal to cos x plus y multiplied by cos x minus y. Are we together? But remember that what is the value of x? X is 45, y is 15. X is 45, y is 15. So I simply have the cos of 60 degrees multiplied by the cos of 30 degrees. Cos of 60 degrees will give me a half. Cos of 30 degrees is the square root of 3 all over 2. So my final answer will be the square root of 3 all over 4. So without the use of a calculator, this guy is equal to the square root of 3 over 4. Okay, now they want us to... Okay, we must consider this expression. Eh? We must rewrite the expression as a single trigonometric ratio. Basically, they want us to simplify this thing. I have 16 sine x cos cubed x minus 8 sine x cos x. I can take out a common factor here. 8 sine x cos x is common, right? Whenever I take it out, I'll be left with 2 cos squared x from the first part minus 1, right? I can change the 8 sine x cos x and write them into one trig ratio. How can I do so? I know that 8 can be written as 4 times 2. Remember that this guy over here will give me cos 2x, right? So that means I have 4. This will give me sine 2x, and then I still have the cos 2x from the other side. But I was asked to write as a single trig ratio, so I still have some work to do. 4 can be written as 2 times 2. This is 2 sine 2x cos 2x, right? So this thing will be 2, and then I'll have sine 4x. Please guys, if you are struggling with how to apply the double angle identities, just go to lesson 30 on the playlist of trigonometry. Just go straight there. You will see how I used and applied the compound and double angles. Okay, so this thing, whenever I write it as a single trig ratio, this will be equal to like this. Okay, so now they want us to, they're asking us that for which values of x in that interval will that expression have a minimum? Okay, the minimum value for that expression, how can we find the minimum value? There is a, okay, always the time, guys, just know that sine 4x will be always between -1 and 1. Are you together? But now we have a 2 in front of sine 4x. So if you multiply everything by 2, we'll have -2, and then we'll have 2, then we'll also have a 2. The minimum value is this one. So now we want to find the x value that will give us a minimum value. Are you together? We must simply say 2 sine 4x is equal to -2. Then sine 4x is equal to -1. Then 4x is equal to sine inverse of -1. I'll get 270. Then x is just 70. Guys, I've skipped some steps here, but what I meant was, because you remember that whenever you do your general solution, you must first find your reference angle. Your ref angle will be 90, but you must express the 90 where sine is negative. Sine is negative on the third and fourth quadrant. On the third quadrant, we'll write angles as 180 plus the reference angle. So 180 plus 90 is 270. Also on the fourth quadrant, we write it as 360 minus 90. We'll get 270. Are you together? So we'll simply say 4x is equal to 270 plus k 360. So x is just divide both sides by 4. 270 divided by 4 is 67.5 plus k 90 degrees. Are you together? So whenever I substitute the values of k there, the only one that will give me an answer within this restriction is when I substitute 0 in terms of whenever I see k, then I'll get my x value to be equal to 67.5 degrees. But guys, this thing was just 1 mark. Yo ngeke. Okay, a quicker way to do this thing, you can simply draw the graph like this, because you're dealing with sine, and the maximum value is 2, the minimum value is -2. We have 0, we have 90, we have 180, we have 270 here. The minimum value is -2. Are you together? Is -2, and when you get -2 when x is 270. So I can tell you guys. Yes, so I would have just said 4x is equal to 270, then x is 67.5, and then get my mark, because ngimdala mina. But just go through the long route. You ain't go die. Yeah, so guys, thank you guys for giving us your time, and I hope the videos that we keep uploading are very, very productive and you are gaining a thing or two. So please guys, if you are new, come subscribe. Jap.